Hi, friends, and welcome to the Don't Annoy Eric stream. In this live stream, we're going to not annoy Eric. What does that mean? Look, when I'm live streaming, the proper response is for everybody to go, "Hey, everybody, come over here. Eric's live streaming." It's a day of great rejoicing, a time to celebrate the wonders of truth, the glories of goodness, the majesty of things that are regal. It's time for us to marvel at the glory of YouTube's finest example of Eric, namely me. Instead, what happens? People come here, they want to argue with me about stuff, they want to tell me how it is, and I'm like, hey, I'm live streaming here, buddy. What the fuck? I'm trying to be all, pontificate-y and guru-y and full of wisdom. And here you are trying to be all like, I know better. No, I know better. That's why I'm the YouTuber. Hi, Stuff Doer. Some people don't get the rules of YouTube. The rules of YouTube are very clear. By being a YouTuber, I'm the expert. And other people who are just lowly viewers, they're not the expert. Hey, Morridge, listen, you're no expert. Who's the one who's YouTubing? Me. That makes me, number one, very important. Number two, the person everyone should listen to with odd silence. I mean, people should say things like, oh my God, that's so insightful. And wow, you're blowing my mind again. Things like that are fine to say, of course. Or, please, can you answer this question? And a very... I remember I saw this clip of this video of some supposed Zen students talking to this, like, it made me cringe just thinking about it, talking to this supposedly, like, enlightened Zen teacher, and the deference with which the student is asking these questions just made me want to kick him in the nuts, Stuff Doer asks a good question. Stuff Doer, listen. When your beard has grown, how long it took won't matter any longer. Words of the wise wisdoms. Wise words. That's because, Morridge, you're here, and you need to be here. And the distance, though small, is as vast as the Grand Canyon until you've attained understanding. Here. Well, Oliver Lyhan. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a critique. It sounds like you've begun doubting the guru instead of having faith in my wisdom. Okay? This is one of the things holding you back, Oliver. You're being held back right now by your limiting beliefs. One of them is that you can know things instead of just listening to me all the time. It's one of your limiting beliefs. You will know things when I'm done teaching you. Until then, you're just listening. Ardently. Can a person listen ardently? Well, I'm just saying, don't annoy. It's not possible to annoy me, is what I'm saying. It says don't annoy me, but I'm so enigmatic that I mean watch how impossible it is for you to annoy me because I'm so enlightened. Listen, Oliver, you're being held back by your limiting beliefs about the annoyers because you've mistaken them for limited beliefs. I'm saying limiting. You're limiting yourself and your growth by believing things that aren't true. Things like, you can't fly. Why can't you fly? Because you believe you can't fly. If you believe differently, you'll reality differently. It's called manifestation. Once you reach this level, then you're close. But to truly manifest like I do, you need to be at this level. The thing is, I didn't have this lighter when the live stream started, but I needed one to light the cigarette. So I just made it happen, and now I have a lighter. That's enlightenment power. Now watch. Watch. No tricks, nothing. It's gone. It disappeared. I don't need it anymore. I de-manifested it. I returned it to the nothingness from whence it came. I said, hey, do you miss that nothingness from whence you came? And without actually saying anything, the lighter kind of conveyed to me that, yeah, a little bit. So I just let it go. The only thing that was keeping it here in the plane of reality was my attachment to its existence. Once I let go, it ceased to be. That's the power of observation. When you're able to observe things into existence, then removal of your observation can remove their existence. The key thing is to hide it from everybody else. Even the fact that there's anything there being hidden, that's enough to render my observation powers useless. But in every other context, I observe it, therefore it is. And I spaketh the words, and reality did change accordingly. Why do I have this line right here? You see this line on my head? Must be from the hat. It does seem to line up with the hat. Sup? Well, I am and you are, apparently. So are Morridge, Oliver, Stuff Doer, and probably much of Western Europe. But they're not here for some reason. I've indicated, not in any particularly effective way, but I've generally given hints in some videos that, hey, rest of the world that aren't here, maybe you should be here too. But nobody seems to be picking up on it. Maybe I'm being too subtle. Maybe I need to send everybody an email in the world. Dear person of the world, why are you not currently watching my YouTube channel? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you don't even know I exist. If you did know, at least you could be ashamed of yourself. Instead, now you just have to feel helpless and vulnerable. So get busy. Now you do know, so there's a responsibility. I told you about it in this email. You got a lot of catching up to do. But I know there are a lot of scofflaws out there. Not everybody's going to obey my decree. That's why I'm going to get Oprah Winfrey on board. I'm going to be Oprah's new Dr. Phil. Except, instead of being like Dr. Phil, I'll be like me. Is it myah to think enlightenedness is fucking stupid? It's SI. It's an SI notion to think that it's stupid in general. For an SI person, you're too much an animal body, you know? You are well served and well suited when you are giving credence to the fundamentals about which one ought to be attached. You know, comfort and the well-being of the self as a body. And you know, like Buddhist enlightenment is the rejection of that notion, which is it's just a way of projecting an eye as a frame bias, basically. That hat, my bro. So smoking savior. I am the savior of smoking. While other important public officials like me are giving the wrong advice about smoking, I'm telling everybody the truth. Hey, may not be good for you, but yeah, it does make you look extra cool. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. And yeah, you know, if you enjoy it, it's pretty satisfying. Certainly, it's more satisfying than not smoking right now. I mean, it would just be me then, just regular me with this red spot on my face. That's no good. With a cigarette, though, wow, that's now we're talking about something, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Well, it enables me to accentuate my points like this. You see what I'm saying? And that's very cool, you know. And sure, we'd like safe things to be cool, but only idiots think safe things are cool. Safe things are boring. Safe things are uncool. That's why when we were kids, my friends and I, none of us would put reflectors on our bicycles. We took them off. And the reason was obvious, because reflectors are dorky. Why are reflectors dorky? Because they're safe. Like helmets. Okay? Helmets and reflectors are dorky because they make you safer. And that's for adults. Nowadays, I'm pretty safe. Nowadays, I'm a believer in wearing bright something if I'm going walking at night, for example, or carrying a flashlight, perhaps. I wouldn't take reflectors on my bike now. That's because I'm not as cool as I was as a kid. As a kid, I was badass. I mean, helmets, reflectors, safety. Fuck that noise. You know, that's what my attitude was as a kid. And we should all have that attitude towards safety. We should all just sort of acknowledge right out the gate, look, everybody, let's stop lying to each other, let's stop pretending, and let's just all agree safety's super gay. Who's irritating? Me? I can't be irritating, okay? I'm the guru. If it seems like I'm being irritating, that means you're just not understanding enlightenment well enough. I am Eckhart Tolle plus Deepak Chopra plus the Dalai Lama plus the Pope combined. That's me. That's how spiritually wise I am. I got all those spiritual points combined. So you got 1 billion spiritual points. Why does the dorky thing get our attention? Well, it seems like a good way to affirm something that nobody's going to object to, I guess. It's like, well, who could object to us making things safer? I mean, everybody wants to be safer. I mean, people kind of want to be safer, but they don't want to experience the harms of being unsafe, but they don't want to be nannied, you know? Okay, well, I mean, you know, Horse Mumbler, you may have missed my last stream about means of getting a wider audience, but I believe my current increase from last month's numbers is 100 up 171%. I had 120 some thousand views last month, last 28 days, and it's all because of these random shorts. Do you know the short I made entitled "It's Valid to Eat Salad"? Just 8 seconds of me filming Rachel eating salad and saying, if you like to eat, it's valid to eat salad if you like to eat leaves. Has 5,000 views now and climbing. Why? Not the kind of shit I'd watch, but, you know, some people want simple stuff, you know. If you like to eating salad is valid if you like to eat leaves. Hey, Eric, genius. Not really, but fine. I mean, that's the thing, Sean O'Neill. 15 minutes, you're way out of scale. I'm talking 8 seconds, 6 seconds, shit like that. That's how you get views. Here's how you put trash in a trash can with the holes too small. 30,000 fucking views. So, I don't know. People don't seem to care much about stuff that's hard and complicated. But me singing to the cat, now that's something we can all get behind. I have typed lots of attractive people, and it is true, the more attractive they are, the more views they get, but we're still topping out at about 1,000. And, you know, that audience for that kind of thing grows slowly. Those videos aren't going to do well in terms of watch time percentage. Because people like me won't. Well, I've had several people say, I say, have you watched any of my typing sessions? They say, well, I've watched a couple minutes of a couple of them to see what I was getting into, and then I didn't watch anymore. Or basically, yeah, I watched a little bit of a couple of them, but that's too long for me. Like, I understand that. I'm that kind of viewer as well. Eric, do you think it's fair to say that when the adjectives good or bad are applied to a noun, the noun is being evaluated by the extent to which it can fulfill its purpose, barring when good or bad are used as moral judgment adjectives? Well, there's also aesthetic. So, if I say that's a bad hammer, then yeah, I'm probably saying it's not, for some reason, it's not a good way to accomplish hammering, even though it's a hammer. If I say it's a bad song, I'm saying it doesn't uphold aesthetic value. If I'm saying it's a bad action morally, then I'm saying well, that's true, horse mumbler. But what I would point out is this. While my views are up 171%, my revenue's only up like 10 or 15%, and the watch time's only up like 10 or 15%, but my subscriber increase rate is doubled. It's up 100%. So, now how durable are those subscribers? I'm not sure. But it's like, what I do know is this. I'm never going to stop being me. I'm never going to be the kind of YouTube channel that does what almost every YouTube channel does when it becomes successful, if it becomes successful, which is reduce the amount of content being made and constrain themselves to the kind of content that gets the most views and stuff like that. I'll always be uploading and doing what I want, you know? And that's just how it is. I do like the views, and I like shorts for a variety of reasons. It's not just that I like the views. I like the way that it seems to me that a short I make can compete on its merits more than other things I do on YouTube. So I'm not young, I'm not attractive. I'm not There's a lot of things that are going against me. I'm not doing a bunch of eye candy stuff. I'm not making the kind of videos I like to watch even. You know, I'm not maximally attempting to please the audience. And that's true with shorts as well, but I am maximally attempting to make a good short. And unlike with long videos, that seems to correlate a lot more directly with success, because what makes a good short involves a lot fewer vectors, or I guess factors would be the correct word. A lot fewer factors to manage. And I also find it really gratifying in the way that it forces me to NI, even though I'm NI ignoring. I like the medium. It's a clear, distinct medium from a longer form videos, and you know, it's fun to entertain the notion that maybe I can do that medium well, and also that the medium, unlike longer form videos, doesn't constrain the maker nearly as much, right? Like, let's say somebody were to become popular as a shorts maker. Well, what is the person who's getting shorts from that person expecting? They're not really necessarily expecting one particular thing. I mean, maybe they're expecting all kitty songs or something, because at first I thought, oh, it looks like I've stumbled on something that works, this kitty song thing. But of course, my Annie does what it does, and I tried a bunch of different things now, and they're all scheduled and stuff. What's the guest POP? What's POP mean? I mean, I do have plenty of typing sessions, you know. And here's the bottom line. I'm doing everything anybody could ask of a person, right? Like, oh, I thought that it was because it was all caps, it was standing for something. It's like people have lots of advice, suggestions, etc. Of course, none of those suggestions are remotely useful compared to, hey Eric, I found a guy who wants to interview you, and he's suggesting this day and time. Are you available? That's something powerful, right? I don't need these suggestions. I have more possible things in mind than I can shake a stick at. None of them involve constraining myself and limiting myself to just being meow or meow or meow. It just isn't gonna happen. Whether it should or not, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, in general, I don't mind being ambushed about any given topic. You can't really ambush me. The one thing that you could potentially ambush me about, and that I don't want to be interviewed about, is me, per se. Like, well, you've made the following statements about yourself, Eric. I don't want to talk about that or have interviews about that. Well, thanks, Sean O'Neill. You know, here we are in Chit Chat Town, where everything's always conditional and considerational rather than actual. And there's lots of ways in which one can conceive of changing my approach such that it would produce better results. But what's funny is that I never would have expected it to be shorts, right? Well, no, horse mumbler. I want to attain maximum level at all the things I'm interested in, which is to say, politically, I'd like to be president. Musically, I'd like to be a massive star that fills stadiums and makes money from music. Um, Philosophically, I'd like to be replace other figures like Jordan Peterson and such as sort of the voice of intelligent people in the world. Um, all of those things. But what I would say is uh, that the reason I want to be successful at all those things is the same reason why I'm unlikely to benefit from hearing advice about how to be successful at all those things. I'm instead much more likely to benefit from assistance. Oh, I'm not actually annoyed. Hi, Winston's mom. I was annoyed earlier, so I thought I'd title this live stream "Don't Annoy Eric's Stream" because I don't know. I was annoyed at the end of the last stream. It's like the garbage that passes for serious talking. It's like I say all these things about evolution. All of them are absolutely fucking spot on the money, and it's never good enough. It's never good enough. I agree. I need to get promoters and coordinators. No, I didn't play World today. And Horse Mumbler, what I'm saying is also correct. What a better way to put that is, I need to enjoy the moment when someone's found somebody for me, presented them to me, and suggested a good setup by which I can engage with them. That's what I need to do. I need to enjoy the moment when somebody else has attained that party, introduced me to them, and suggested some kind of arrangement so that it can actually work long term. It's going to work. In other words, the hard part. It's easy to recognize that I need somebody else to do the shit that I don't like. I see. I need an assistant to get an assistant. Okay, well, you know, that's true. And I don't have one. That's also true. So, I don't know. Life's hard. I need an assistant to get assistance from. Right, but what I'm saying is before I get an actual assistant, I need someone to assist me in getting an assistant who's not my assistant already. Yeah, I can. But it probably has to do with being a drummer. I mean, not a good. I'm not a drummer. It probably has to do with being able to play the drums, sort of. But because then you have to get used to having each hand do different things, you know. So, I don't know why I'm streaming. What was I doing before? I was playing around with that song, and I was trying to tighten it up with the drums and the instrument bit. And then I got tired of working on it. I kind of got depressed by the fact that this has got a lot of work ahead of it, you know. And so then I started watching a couple of videos from before, and I just thought, well, maybe I'll live stream. Maybe people will come talk about interesting things, or I'll feel entertained. I don't quite feel ready to go to bed. I don't particularly feel enthused about working on anything. That's when I end up live streaming, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? I guess I got nothing to do, so I should just go ahead and live stream. Who knows why? And, as you can hear, I didn't really do much of anything to this thing I was working on except clean it up. So, it doesn't exactly feel like I got a lot accomplished. I was working on that, trying to get that cleaned up, making the drums be the right drums for the thing. I'm still not happy with the drum mix. The snare's too loud. I'll probably have to redo the drums from LMS. And I started thinking, like, oh, shit, it's a big project. I'm tired of working on this now. As far as Rachel's mom goes, yeah, she hasn't talked to her as far as I know. There's this horrible sense that I have of course, Rachel's mom has been busy spreading lies to all of Rachel's relatives about what happened, When what happened is she tried to construct a scenario in which she could once again turn the screws on Rachel and leave Rachel powerless to do anything but comply. Except she's not powerless anymore. She can call me, we're a couple, we're a team. And what was weird is that Rachel's mom didn't seem to get that, Like, if the way you expect it to go is a toxic partner says, okay, well, I don't like your family, so you either choose me or your family. That's the textbook toxic partner thing to pull, right? You don't expect the family to say, if you leave with him right now, and this is somebody who's my wife, more or less. I've been with her for a long time now. If you leave with this guy, you're choosing him over us. And while I'm the one saying, hey, I don't believe in door slams, so this, the communication line is still open here. If you want me to bring her back and you're willing to be reasonable, I'll bring her back, no problem. Of course, Rachel's mom's trying to position it as me leveraging access to her daughter which is completely not the case at all. It's totally insane, you know? So it bothers me knowing that she's spreading her lie version of things to the relatives. Um, and, and portraying me as some sort of crazy loose cannon because, well, I mean, I raised my voice some. I certainly wasn't screaming her out of control or anything. But also, I threw the room key. I wouldn't hand it to her. I tossed it across the room. You know, fuck off. You go pick it up. All of a sudden, you're like, give me the key. It's like, I didn't even want this key in the first place. And now you're going to try to be all like, um, teaching me a lesson by taking it back. I'm doing you a favor by being here. Well, it's not just, I mean, it's textbook fucking toxic behavior, right? It's textbook toxic behavior. Trying to make somebody choose between, you know, being a member of a family and another person in their life who's objectively not a toxic influence on her. It's not at all the case that I'm bad for Rachel. And if it were, it would be me saying, it would be me trying to keep her away from her family and stuff. Instead, her mom made a concerted effort to separate Rachel and me, so that she could behave as she wanted to with Rachel, which is not an acceptable way, you know. If her objections about marijuana smoking were legitimate, she would have said them to me when I smoked it right next to her and offered her some. She didn't say a word to me. Mom didn't, right? If her objections were legitimate, then Rachel would have violated the terms that her mother set out in the first place, which were don't smoke on the balcony, which she didn't. Well, you might call it narcissism, but I prefer the term accountability avoidance syndrome, which you might also call ass. Hi, Lijo. How you doing? Henlo. Are you doing well? Are you doing better than good? Are you doing somewhere between good and fantastic? Or are you doing somewhere between terrible and good? Those are your two choices, A or B. I am doing A, between good and fantastic. B, between terrible and good. Instead of saying to people, how are you doing, I'm going to present that multiple choice question from now on. Please answer the following. Which of the following choices best describes you? A, good to fantastic. B, terrible to good. Internet friends are the best kind of friends, 'cause they don't bother you at your house and don't expect you to go someplace and help them with something. You have to travel to Puerto Rico? You know what they call Puerto Rico, don't you, Lijo? The land of grapefruit flavor. Oh, see. You are going to go to Puerto Rico to visit the land of grapefruit flavor. Santo Domingo is the home of grapefruit flavor. Puerto Rico is like a beautiful woman. If you want to make love to a beautiful woman, you have to touch her gently. Same with Puerto Rico. If you stroke Puerto Rico gently, she will give you her grapefruit flavor. But if you are rough with Puerto Rico, she will give you none of her grapefruits. Those are the wise words of Jose Santo Domingo Santo Domingo, who's a Puerto Rican native and an expert on Puerto Rican grapefruit farms. Not to mention making love to a sensual lady. Right, you might get meowed. That's true. I've been known to meow people. Don't make me meow you, 'cause sometimes meowing is piowing. And you know when I piyow, then you'll be sure to be frowning. Don't make me turn my meow into a piyow is a good bumper sticker. I guess. I mean, it's a really tough argument for her to make. I mean, what you say there sounds correct, Oliver, which reads, sounds like Rachel's mother views Rachel as an incompetent, mentally ill drug addict who needs her guidance to make it through the world. She sees you as a toxic influence because you encourage Rachel's autonomy. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to argue that I'm a toxic influence. I've never heard her say anything like that. But she did say, "You're going to let him talk to me like that?" While ignoring what I'm saying and not answering my questions and stuff. And which prompts me to say, she doesn't get to decide how I talk to you. You are deciding this, you know? If you don't want me to treat you like a country without a re, then don't be a country without a re. You know? Answer my questions. That's rule number one in life. I don't ask questions of people for no reason. You know, if I'm trying to get to the bottom of something, if there's a problem or something, I'm going to start with questions. And every human being's job on the planet is to answer Eric's questions as he asks them, not some other question. Don't try to change the subject. Don't try to fool me. There's nothing more insulting than when I ask a question and somebody thinks they're going to get away with not answering it, answering a different question, changing the subject. It makes me just want to just scream at them. Why are you spitting in my face? Because basically you're standing right here and go and saying, ha, I think you're too stupid to recognize what I'm doing. But I'm not that stupid, so why are you acting like that? I ask you a specific question, answer it. As asked, on point. I'm asking for a reason. You don't need to know why I'm asking. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Oliver. She sees me as a threat because if she can thrive around you, Rachel that is, then Emmy, Rachel's mom's, view of Rachel is wrong, and if Emmy's view of Rachel is wrong, then Emmy has to reckon with Emmy's own behavior. Right. Like, when I asked at some point, towards the end of it, have you ever even apologized to Rachel for the bullshit you pulled? She just refused to even look at me or answer the question or hear it. You know? Just absolutely refused. There's no in-law drama. This is not in-law drama, okay? The thing is, I have no problem with anybody who behaves as though we both have to play by the same rules. If I have a problem with people who think that they can use words secretly with Rachel in one context, and that they get to not be held to account for those words later on by somebody else, right? No, everything's private and secret, we say. Okay, well then you're fucked up and you're saying stupid ass shit if you want to keep it so secret. Because, yeah, it doesn't play, does it? Your words don't play when heard by third party ears, and they didn't play with Rachel either. But Rachel's just not very good at pushing back and asserting herself and laying the lumber on you. And it was pretty clear that Rachel's mom, she desperately needed that experience and hasn't had it, right? She has managed somehow to bull her way through and has not met a real bull before. And I'm what you call a real bull. There's no fooling me, there's no intimidating me, there's no tricking me, there's no bullying me, there's no anything. You have successfully earned my full attention now, and there is no possible way that you're going to get me off of the scent except to run and hide, right? Once I've got the scent of your bullshit and your wickedness, I will grab onto it with my jaws and tear it to shreds until you run and hide. And that's it. And then you can go run and hide and tell lies to your family members if you want. But, you know, it's not that hard to hear my side of the story if anybody cares enough to try. I'm telling it right now. And my side of the story is the fuck you will, woman. You're not going to pull that shit on my watch. And Rachel certainly didn't need this. It's like the rapidity with which she went from Eric's being disrespectful to if you leave with him, I'm disowning you, was stunning and appalling. Because there's no circumstance at all, period, in which I would ever say that to my daughter. Disown her for any reason, let alone make it into an ultimatum. And that sort of sealed the deal for me on this woman. It's like, oh, you're a fucking piece of shit. I mean, and that she's on the phone calling her relatives to start setting up the narrative as before her daughters even left, the daughter she just disowned like that. Like, you are a horrible excuse for a human being, Emmy LaPalooza. It's like, I have a daughter. I know what it means to love your daughter. It's, this is how it is with me and Delilah. I said, after having a big argument with Delilah about COVID, that you see how what COVID does is put a wedge between us. She burst into tears because of the possibility there could ever be a wedge between us. I apologized and immediately admitted I was being hyperbolic. There's not actually a wedge between us. I'm just mad about COVID. The idea that I would ever dream of disowning her or threatening to withdraw my presence in her life over something is fucking insane. I don't know what Rachel's mom expected. I think Rachel's mom expected Rachel to side with her that I was talking to Rachel's mom disrespectfully. But of course I was. Because that's what she had earned. She had earned disrespect and contempt by pulling this shit and then not answering my questions. I mean, I'd recommend my videos on narcissism and narcissistic parents. This one right here is way better than any other video you'll see on the subject because it explains exactly what to do and how to deal with such people. You forcibly shove their bullshit down their throat until they run and hide. It's very straightforward. There don't need to be all these videos about it. It's like, oh, it's complicated. No, as soon as you see them being toxic and bullshitty, you pound them over the face with it until they run away and hide. There's nothing more complicated than that. You know, it's like all the YouTube videos on narcissism, we can just toss them all away and just Eric say that for 15 seconds, and that's it. That's all there is to say about it. The only reason they continue to exist is because people take some stupid ass fucking approach like Dr. Les Carter's instead of Eric's approach. If everybody took Eric's approach, they'd have to change or be completely isolated. You know? I mean, the thing is, her dad is a victim too of this woman. It's like her dad genuinely loves Rachel and yet was party to some bullshit because he got kind of bullied into it by his wife, you know? I mean, the last thing I want to do is tell Rachel who she can or can't hang out with or talk to or anything. I mean, I'm not in favor of having problems within a family. My understanding of family is there's never any problem within a family because if there is, you genuinely and honestly talk it out immediately, and so there's not. But that's not Emmy's way of dealing with things, that's for sure. I mean, I would say more Emmy probably bowled him into it than bullied him into it. It's a little different, right? She's got this sort of relentless TESI push forward, push through while sounding reasonable thing that fools a lot of people. Doesn't fool me for a second. And not going to work on me. And the only thing she's going to get out of it is that I seemed like I was wild in my anger or something. Even though I wasn't screaming or anything. I was mad. She wasn't listening to me. I was definitely putting my finger in her face, saying, "That's insane, you liar." Because she was lying, you know. And her claim was insane and unsubstantiatable and ridiculous. So it's like, it seems pretty obvious to me that, based on her, like, that nobody had ever called her on shit before. But nobody had ever said, "You're a liar and that's insane. And you're an abuser. And you have no ground to stand on here, lady. You need to listen, not talk." Well, I mean, yeah, she's playing games, the mother is. But Rachel's not particularly susceptible to it. Rachel, being an NI dom, has never been successfully gaslit. She's sort of been made more crazy by this environment that was basically functioning as a continual gaslighting machine that wasn't working anyway because Rachel's an NI dom and there's the internet to give her information beyond just the bullshit that she's being fed by her, you know, locality people, which are people right next to you or with you. And, you know, what Rachel said is that seemed very reminiscent of when her brother abruptly kicked her out of the house because, same thing. She came into the house smelling like she just smoked weed because she had, but she didn't smoke it in the house or anything. And when she said, "But that's not the rules," there was no ability to have any conversation about that. It was just, nah, run away and kick you out. And absolutely refused to talk to Eric, no matter what. So the brother and the mother are both sufferers from ASS, accountability avoidance syndrome, which means they both need to be yelled at and shamed by me. as much as possible because that's the only way to help them. I'm 50. I mean, I haven't had very many of them. The thing is, I had one in my last relationship with Kimberly's aunt because she was one of these people. And then in this relationship, I've encountered two of them. Prior to that, I hadn't encountered these people. I don't know. You know, it's like, this is the thing. When I first saw it in action with Kimberly, I was like, oh my God! What the fuck? It was shocking. So, I don't know how or why. It's only within the last 5 or 6 years that I started encountering these people. And I've encountered several of them, you know, since. And, like, maybe the first one that I encountered was probably Nick. And it took me a while to get what he was doing. And then, of course, same thing. No, and now you're going to be held to account of shame. And what did he do? Run away and hide. But, you know, and then Kimberly treated me as though Kimberly had accountability avoidance syndrome, even though she didn't in general. And the reason is because BPD is basically selective ass directed at your most significant other. Yeah, it's insane. It's stunning. It's so wrong. The my way or the highway, the using leverage over people you love to force them to do things they don't want to do, to control them in ways they don't want to be controlled, is the worst sort of wickedness. Oh, you're going to be running the world in a few years? Well, can you hurry and make me president then? You have an obligation to do so since I'm obviously be the best president. So please, hurry up and make that happen. It's your moral duty. Yeah, it is. You've got a moral duty. That's the best way to get a lady to go down on you. Explain to her that it's her moral duty. But Julie, listen, I want to talk about moral duties. You know Kant, right? No, he's a philosopher. He's really into talking about moral obligations and stuff like that. Really? Yeah. Anyway, he says you have to blow me. He does? Yeah. It's your deontological imperative. Okay. Well, I guess if it's my deontological imperative. You think a lot of those people aren't conscious of the control they attempt to exude on others? Well, they've got to at least be conscious of the fact that they're refusing to listen to me and answer my questions, right? You can't accidentally do that. So, you know. I mean, it makes me have, like. It makes me. It's that sort of shit that makes me wake up mad, right? It's like. It's not that the woman pulled her shit. It's that she escaped she escaped having to sit down and answer my questions and listen to me. It's like she needs to be put on a witness stand where the judge is forcing her to answer my questions. And that would be the best thing imaginable for her. I mean, all I can do is turn evil. That's what I do. I turn it in the debate sense. So, anytime somebody's being wicked, I use that as a weapon against them. And it seems like the most natural thing in the world to do. Uh, But see, most people don't have the clarity to be sure that they're right, that the other person's being evil, nor the sort of, I guess, both native and practiced capacity to feel confident that they're going to win the argument. I don't know if Rachel talked to her dad or not. I think we've both been playing Seven Avoidant today. I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to think about it, you know? I mean, I don't think you should be kidding. You should have a positive self-concept. I would hesitate about being wicked cool because it would seem to limit you to New England. Whereas, you know, America cool is for the whole country. I mean, you don't want to be Wapah pitted because that's too California specific. You remember my joke? I should make that into a short. That'd be a good short. I'll get a can of olives, and I'll put the olives like where I had those army men, and I'll light it a little bit better this time. And then the film will just be on the olives, and the joke will say, "What did this? What did the surfer have to say? What did the surfer have to say about the olives?" So pitted. That's it. That's a short right there. That short might do really well, you know. That's probably be a pretty good short. I think what I need to do is go look in the garage for a can of olives. And just, these are the sort of things you got to do when you have the impulse to do them. Don't think, oh, I'll do that one later, or else you just never do it. And that's the nice thing about shorts, too, is they're very quick to make. It's not a big time investment. And it is a pretty funny joke. I did make it up myself in the store one day. I told it to the lady at the cash register. She agreed that it was a funny joke. So, you know, I got good reason to think that maybe I put that up. And the key thing is don't show myself, right? I show the thing. And that's how you get things treated fairly, honestly, like on its merits, because there's no benefit from being young or prettier or demographically the same or whatever. No. Just no. Mrs. Mom. For God's sakes. What do you think the chances are that you are the first person to suggest this to me, that I've never considered it before, or that I just need a little more encouragement to follow through on this great idea? I actually have a shorts channel, but I found myself not wanting to upload it to it because I thought, well, hell, if I'm gonna get subscribers, I might as well be for my main channel. Well, hell, if I'm gonna publish these things, I might as well get paid something for them rather than waiting to get this channel monetized. These long-term vision plan follow-through things just don't work with me. I think tri-type's better. I don't like wing. Stuff doer, I don't know what you mean. Mean, can you stay in my room? No. Why? Because I have no idea who you are, where you are, and don't want you to stay in my room. Oh, at least we just want to say we're proud of you for the help you're providing. It's important work you do, breastfeeding homeless people with AIDS. And without your good work, they'd have less access to breast milk. Thank you from all of us. Thank you for your service, Elise. Thank you for your social service. at least needs to rewatch my foot washing parable. That's very, very telling about what's wrong with Elisa's worldview. She hasn't incorporated the message of Jesus from the foot washing parable, which is wash your own fucking feet. That's the takeaway Jesus intended us to take away from the whole foot washing parable. Dirty feet are gross. Even your own dirty feet are kind of gross, but other people's, fuck that noise. They need to wash their own feet. That's the message. But be nice about it is the other message, you know. Show them how if they don't understand. Qualifier. I've had this nick from way before they made a show. What nick? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, they don't mingle visually or analytically with my full-length videos. That's the nice thing about them is I can treat them as completely independent agents from the channel, right? They're succeeding entirely on their merits as shorts. Some of them may get me subscribers, but I don't expect those subscribers to be very durable. It may be true that I could sustain a durable subscriber base of shorts fans with just shorts, and it may be true that I could sustain a better subscriber base on the long video format if I separated the two things. And it may be true that would please people more. But the problem is, like Joe, I'm Eric. And talking with famous people is the place that I live where I do all my stuff. Okay? You see, there's this one place where I live and I do all my stuff called my house. And talking with famous people is my house. And people keep telling me, no, commute. Commute, Eric. Commute across town to the office where you're supposed to do your work over there. And you can still do your fun stuff at home. No, I don't want to fucking commute. I want to stay at my house and do my shit here. Okay? So just everybody knock it off. It's very straightforward. This is my house. I like it like this, and that's it. I live here as much as I live anywhere else. I feel homesick almost when I don't stream for very long, you know? So I'm always going to stream. And then sometimes I have ideas that I want to express in a video. Somebody sent me an email that I wanted to respond to today. And I'm going to upload those videos. Sometimes I'll have an idea that I want to do just in the bath or whatever. I'll go and make that video and upload it. And sometimes I'll make songs and upload them. And sometimes I'll make comedy things and upload them. And although probably a lot of the comedy stuff will be replaced by shorts. I think it works better as shorts because you get a single joke. Bada bing, bada boom, pow. What more do you want from life? Nothing. But a single joke. Elijah, did you hear about my video that got 30,000 views in like 48 hours? Yeah, you know why? You know why? Because it was a short about how to put trash in a trash can. Okay? So, pretty important stuff. I bet I helped a lot of people there. I helped 30,000 people understand. Yeah, I got a hit with my short. Now, the thing about shorts is they hit on the shorts feed for a stretch of time, and then they flatten out, plateau. So there's one about, like, T.E. Polar be like, can't fit it into the trash can. Everybody else be like, pull that metal ring thing out and put it in the trash can, put the metal ring back. That's basically just the video. It got fucking 30,000 views. Like, boom. It was 1 hour. It got 2,500 views in 1 hour. It's a lot of views for 1 hour. It got 800 and some likes. 800 and some likes. That's a lot of likes. Now, what's currently still on the way up is another hugely important topic. It's Now I got 5,000 views, and it's still climbing. It is the video I took from above of Rachel eating salad, in which I say, it's valid to eat salad if you like to eat leaves, or something like that. About 6 seconds. It's over 5,000 views now. Because people need to know that. And they know they need to know that, and they reward that by appreciating that valuable short of mine. There's a video I have, Light Joe, in which it's a video of a chair in the corner of a room. And I say, now that's a stylish place to sit. 5 seconds long. 3,000 views. And you know why? Because I was right. It was a stylish place to sit. And people appreciated the truth of my words. At first I thought, oh, it's just these kiddie songs that seem to be working on the short feed. Actually, no, they're like weak compared to some of these other things. You know, like noting that that's a stylish place to sit. Why, that's got twice as many views as the average kiddie song short. Because people need to know that. And I'm the guy who tells them. My description of the bathroom at the timeshare. A couple thousand views. Why? Because I did a good job of describing the bathroom. I'm excellent at bathroom describing. I got my master's degree at that. It's a very specialized master's. What else? What else is gonna work as this short? It's kind of hit and miss, you know. It's kind of like gambling at the casino, except you win a lot more than you lose if you got any kind of sense or trying to make shit NI, right? And there's definitely it's definitely a medium you can master in some sense more than the long videos, which are complicated. But regardless, I was gonna go get a can of olives. Any of you guys want some olives? Anything else when I'm outside? I should go to the car and get a soda, because a man cannot live on coffee alone. I'll let you enjoy this fine instrumental music while I'm gone. Water is for vegetarians, CJ. Do I look like a vegetarian? I'm back. I got 7-Up in the car. 7-Up's as close to water as you can get without actually being water. Now I'm going to make this quick short with this olives that I got from the garage. I looked and looked, I thought, oh yeah, I guess we don't have any olives. And then right there in front of me I saw them. Hey, look at that. A can of olives. Perfect. Now I need this. It's like, how many views will this get? See, that's what's fun about shorts too, is who knows? Maybe a lot. Maybe none. Who knows? No. Stop being bad. Stop being a bad surface upon which to do this. You're making me regret my poor decision, and I don't like that. Why do things make me regret my poor decisions? It's like, if I wanted to regret my decision, I wouldn't have made it. That doesn't make sense, Eric. Shh, shh. Hush, little angel. You just need to hush a bush. Put it right in the middle. Put it right up against that thing, maybe. Maybe move it a little closer. Almost. Almost, but not quite. Almost only counts in almost shoes and hand grenades. What did the surfers say about the olives? So pitted. And that's it. That's the making of a short for you right there. Not really in front of your eyes, but in front of your ears. Will it succeed? Will it get 1 billion views? Maybe. Who knows? I could do that too. It's not just other people who can succeed. I get to be successful maybe too. Then I'll show everybody. I'll be like, wow, look, Eric won. Said, shocks the shit out of me too, but what do you know? What did the surfers say about the olives? So pitted. What did the surfers say about the olives? So pitted. What did the surfers say about the olives? So pitted. What did the surfers say about the olives? So pitted. What did the surfers say about the olives? So, what did the surfers say about the olives? I'm going to title it Olives and Surfer Joke. That's a good title. I'm going to schedule it. I'm going to schedule it for today at 8 a.m. because I feel like it. So even though I keep moving forward into the future, right? Like, I guess she's scheduled like the 21st or whatever. But I'm excited about that one. I think it might do well. It's very straightforward. That is NI. That is what you call NI right there. It's a nice video of a can of olives with a 5-second long joke. Anybody want to put your bets down on how many views it'll get? I don't know, but I'll tell you this much. That's the sort of thing that shorts are for, right? That's why shorts exist. To make shit like that. I'm just grateful, happy, thankful to the Lord that I have I mean, I have 2 to 3 hours worth of solid material for sure. I'd need to assemble pieces of it, but I would have to operate in the following fashion. I've got joke blocks A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and some specificity within that, but I have to be able to give myself room to generate it on the spot, so to speak, again, in order for it to work anyway. So, um, you know, I would definitely not be able to do what you're describing. There's no way for me to get better at comedy by over practicing it. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't run through some shit a bit. And I get that how you deliver something is the determinant factor in how funny it is. But I mean, if I actually had an audience, I'd be very empowered to roll. You know, it's like I have a few joke areas I start off with or whatever, and see how things go. I mean, as it stands, I'm accustomed to working off of something besides just myself. Although I do occasionally come up with just myself stuff, you know. I work off stuff in the chat or something prompts me to think of something funny or whatever. But I get that you can't just go up and improv comedy. I do have chunks of comedic material that I know, but I wouldn't want to try to memorize it and deliver it from memory. Because the thing is, as early as high school, I gave up quickly on original oratory as a speech. And as a speech event. And the main reason I gave up on it was because reciting memorized things made me feel this sort of weird out-of-body experience, detached from the meaning of the things, and just I kept feeling like I was floating above myself and looking down. It's yeah, I mean that would be a smart strategy there, I think. If you've got a venue for me to do comedy, the thing is this. The way something like this would actually happen is as follows. Okay, Eric, I've got you booked for this much time to do comedy at this place on this day and night. Then all of a sudden there's a real impetus for me to prepare to do that and to think hard about how I'm going to approach it without trying to play Memorize Mary, you know, because Memorize Mary doesn't work for me. It never did, even for speeches. So Um, I have to work a little more dynamically than that. Regardless, what it boils down to ultimately is it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm in a funny mood, I'm hilarious, and if I'm not, it'll be work. But I can usually manage that with chemicals of various sorts, you know. So I can make myself be in a funny mood by having access to the right kinds of chemicals at the right time, getting the right amount of sleep, etc. I can manage that, but I need to know in advance, you know. I guess I'm getting tired now. It doesn't seem like it's only been an hour and a half since I started streaming. But I do feel tired. I feel tired like somebody who's been engaged in a lot of complicated F things. Which means that's the most tired kind of tired there is, you know? There's no more tired you could be than tired from F things. F things are exhausting. They're complicated, difficult to process. Um, there's too many factors, and there's no satisfactory, simple conclusion to them. And the best you can do is more or less avoid regret. And if it's too F heavy, there's no way to avoid regret, or else it wouldn't be that F heavy. You're just gonna have to manage, you know, balancing goods and evils that are not clear cut against each other in ways that doesn't leave anybody or anything fully satisfied. I don't like that aspect of F stuff, you know. If F stuff's not a problem, then it's not a problem, and you're not thinking about that stuff. If you're thinking about that stuff, then F stuff's the problem. When F stuff's a problem, the story of a man and his difficulties. It's the title of my one act play. I think what I'm going to do right now is play a goodbye song and then call it a stream. Probably go to bed. Winston's mom, the thing is, okay, sure, horse mumbler. I will try to do that. That's good. That's clear cut. Now we're narrowed it down to actionable words. Um, I didn't feel a big adrenaline rush dealing with Rachel's mom. It genuinely took me by surprise. Like, I wasn't overhyped up for battle. I wasn't expecting a big battle. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I sort of thought that Rachel had discussed this my arrival and what it meant. Not just that I was coming down there with her mom, but I was wrong. So it's like when they first came in, I was like, "Hi, um, how was the show?" or something. And I said, "Well, you know, I got to get back because my dad already left town for Vegas, and I didn't even lock up the house or anything really. So, um, so we gotta split." "Oh, you're going back?" she said. I'm like, "Well, we are, you know." And then it became obvious that she was not aware that Rachel had called her bluff. She just had heard that I was coming down there. So, and that's nine. You know, nine's avoiding the conflict and calling in Eric to deal with the hard part, which is totally fine. If she finds the conflict part hard, I don't find it hard. I'm not afraid of a little conflict. I don't go seeking it though. And the thing is, I didn't really. It's like I was tired. I was. I was also like not exactly bored, but like in the state of not sure how this is gonna go down. Waiting. So I pooped some, and I didn't really have to. It wasn't ready to come out on its own, so I had to sit there and push for a while. I killed some time, but I just didn't know what to expect when she came in. I didn't have a clear sense of how that was going to go down. It went down much more dramatically than I expected, and it's more like my emotions are scrambling to catch up. I scrambled to catch up with it, and then never. There wasn't that sort of big battle adrenaline up or down. I did get mad, but it's like it became pretty obvious pretty quickly to me. Oh, this woman's not going to listen to a fucking word I say. And at that point, I was just like, okay. I was stopped being mad, and I kept saying things, but hello, I'm talking to you, and she just ignored me. So, it's like when that woman, in the Pomona video. In the Pomona video, after the cop pushes me, and I yell at the cop, and then this woman comes up and yells at me, and I say, what are you yelling at me for? Like, she's like, he's just doing his job. There's a dangerous guy over there. Okay, well, the dangerous guy over there doesn't make his job to push me, But she was FI, probably Tool, and she said, fuck off, weirdo. And at that point, I just stopped arguing and I walked away. Because it's like I could tell, okay, I'm not going to get anywhere with you at all. You're not listening at all. I mean, I don't know how exactly conscious or planned it was, but there's definitely something weird about the way it all went down. Like, the way it went from no problem to her manufacturing a problem to disowning Rachel under the terms of an ultimatum because of a direct conversation with me that she very much should have been able to anticipate, given that I've had plenty of direct confrontations with her in the past. She'd always run in terror in the past as well, but it's also been the case that when I felt like I was wrong in one of those direct conversations, I came back and apologized and said I was wrong. I blah 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 blah. Which she had no problem hearing that, but she can't do the same, and that's her problem. And she's terrified of my true words hitting her tender little ears. But that's, people like that, literally, somebody needs to tie them in a fucking chair so they have to listen to me. And, stuff their mouth with something so that they can't make noises to block me out, and put it up in text in front of them as well as I'm talking, so they have to process that language that they don't want to process. It's the only thing that could possibly save them. Of course, that's never going to happen. I wouldn't actually advocate compelling people in that fashion, but that's the only thing that will save them, is to have to listen to me. The one thing they most in the world don't want to do. Now, her mother's not bipolar. Her mother's just she's got ass. She's got accountability avoidance syndrome. She's unable to be scolded by Eric. It's a rock certain test for ass. If you could administer this test to everybody in the country, if you are completely unable to be scolded by Eric, even though you deserve to be scolded by Eric, then you suffer from ass. Rachel's an Enneagram 9. I think Rachel's mom's a 1. I'm not into breaking contact. I don't roll like that. No, Rachel's mom is not persona non grata. I still expect her to fulfill her family obligations and be a good human being and try to be connected with her daughter. Right? That's how decent human beings approach problems. They don't declaratively cut things off forever because they don't like how shit went down. And that's what she needs to hear from me. Yeah, ultimatums, schmaltimatums, exactly. Ultimatums are bad. You have no idea who Ultimatum Schmaltimatum is? It's one of the Roman emperors that came after Caligula. And before Superbus. Ultimatum Schmaltimatum, he was known as defying the clear, bright lines drawn in the sand by other world leaders. That's how he earned the Roman nickname, Ultimatum Schmaltimatum. I don't want to hold the cards, okay? It's like, I'm not the one who tried to cut off contact. I'm not the one who tried to end the communication process. There's no way to solve these problems except by talking about them. And she's going to have to be able to talk about things without lying. That's right, I do need one of those. I mean, if it's okay for society to mandate vaccines and masks onto people, then certainly it's okay to compel them to listen to Eric. That's much, much, much more valuable for society than any mask wearing or vaccine having could ever possibly be. Which emotion makes my amygdala throb the hardest, and which one makes it the moistest? I mean, the emotion that makes my amygdala throb, I'd have to say, would be like appalled. Is that an emotion? Being appalled by something that's bullshit, like that shit, like that Rachel's mom pulled, right? That makes my amygdala throb. What makes it moistest? I mean, Kitty, my daughter, Rachel, in moments, or just a sense of how beautiful it is to be able to do this. That makes me moist. You know, it's like I need this so badly, and somehow, some way, I don't know. There's always at least 4 or 5 people who are willing to hang out with me. At any time, I can turn this thing on, and there's 4 or 5 people minimum. Sometimes, you know, maybe 10, maybe even as many as 20 sometimes, you know. It's not a crowd, but I don't need a crowd. I need to be able to talk with people who say occasional things over there. what is all of us wore the N95 mask, but each mask had to be printed with the words, listen to host Eric because he's right. I mean, I think all masks should be printed with the words, I hate this mask. You're forcing me to wear this makes me sad or something. Like, sure do wish I didn't have to wear this. Or, hey, look, my face doesn't belong to me. My body, your choice. Well, that's a good one, right? My body, your choice. Print on mask. You know, and that's one of those things that people can be unhealthy about is that the challenges with Rachel's mom made, I think, probably both Rachel and I um, feel emotional towards each other, extra emotional, extra affectionate and stuff. I felt protective. I felt whatever. Well, in her tri-type, she's not. She's 9 in the head section. She's not 1 or 8. Everybody's got 1 from each of the 3 things. That's too many words, though. You know, that's the problem with trying to put that on a mask. A mask doesn't give you a lot of. You think a lot of people wouldn't get that joke? Um, yeah, probably. Because of course, this is the beautiful thing, though, right? Is because there's substantial overlap in the populations of people who are very vocally pro-choice, and the population of people who are very vocally pro-vaccine, pro-mask, pro-health bullshit. Um, there's a lot of overlap in those populations. So what's strangely happened is you never hear "my body, my choice" anymore. You know, people have thrown that one away because even people with shitty TI recognize, ah, shit, that's going to be used against me on the mask thing. So we're just not going to mention that anymore. Let's just not talk about abortion until COVID's over. Corollaries are too strong. Okay, so Peter Dentici brings up something that some people might get upset about. Last infrastructure bill, there's a section in which federal government requires automobile makers to add a means of remote shut-off to deter drunk driving. In other words, to make it so the police can shut down your car remotely if they decide they need to for some reason. Um, right. And the thing is, of course, you forcing a mask on my face is definitely about my body. You killing a distinct organism inside of you is not nearly as definitely about your body, no matter how you want to cut it. It's going to passively monitor your driving habits to set a baseline in case you drift from falling asleep or from intoxication and send a signal as such. I mean, the thing is, I don't like additional control mechanisms as a matter of course. But it's important to remember that there's legitimate exercise of government power and illegitimate exercise of government power. The government can most well justify exercising its power in relatively arbitrary ways when people are using the roads. Because if there's one area in the world that is definitely the dominion of the government and therefore subject to their regulation, not just natural law or whatever. It's driving on the roads. I mean, I like that argument, Horse Mumbler. I don't think that it'll play out like that, actually. That requires a lot of foresight on your drunks, on the part of your drunks. It also presumes that these drunks have sufficient periods of sobriety in which to execute this plan. It would also seem to require that they get false positived a few times in order to make their case against it being used at all, and that's a big process. So I don't think it's going to play out like that, unless it depends what the AI is on the thing, I guess. Well, I mean, it's a reaction by the government to the fact that people can't seem to not drive drunk themselves. The thing to remember, of course, is whatever they're putting into place and all of these things, they aren't actually about drunk driving. They're about um, driving in a fashion that conveys impairment via how you're driving. So it's it's important to remember that while we call it drunk driving itself is not illegal. Blowing a breathalyzer result while driving is illegal. Driving badly and drunk at the same time is illegal. But I drove drunk for many, many years. I never got in trouble for it. Why? Because I didn't drive badly while drunk. So, well, I know. No, I know. So, what that means, though, but remember, we're operationalizing things. So, what that means is it's illegal to blow a certain breathalyzer result if you're pulled over when you're driving. As far as driving while intoxicated without a breathalyzer test is very hard to prove. And even if they make you take a blood test or a urine test, um, then it's very hard to establish that you were actually intoxicated by whatever they find in your system at the time. I'm drawing a distinction between behaviors that correlate with drunk driving, is the sort of thing that you're talking about being targeted, versus happenstance kind of things where you happen to be drunk, pulled over for something else. Maybe they smell alcohol and you get arrested for drunk driving, even though you weren't driving badly at all, versus being drunk and driving and not triggering any of those red flags. You see? I mean, I got pulled over for drunk driving one time, and I did take the field sobriety test, and I passed it, and I was quite drunk. And they let me go. So my experience would seem to contradict that, but that was just my experience. I mean, the thing is, if you want to be let go right then definitely take the field sobriety test because any other alternative means a lot longer engagement with the cops. You might be able to fool them for a few seconds by being polite and get sent on your way, and you escape. Phew, you know, the longer you spend around them, the more opportunity they have to find something wrong. Nice balance is what it really was. When I got out of the car, walking to the back of the car where they administer the test, I had to hold onto the side of the car because I was like stumbly. But somehow between the driver's side door and the back of the car, I said, okay, I better fucking pull it together to myself, and I did. Did all their tests just fine, was super polite. They sent me on my way. The slab's looking out for me, you know? That was a long time ago. And I was driving drunk too. It's like I was flying down the diamond lane at like 85 or 90 back in the day when the speed of traffic wasn't as high as it is now. Now that's normal, but it wasn't normal for back then. Well, no, it doesn't. I mean, you've got to play it right, you know? With cops, you've always got to play it not TI. It's never TI is never the right approach with cops. You always want to play it FE. Well, the only thing you're concerned about is managing their perceptions, and their perceptions of you should be, for me anyway, it's harmless, eccentric intellectual, articulate, kind of befuddled in that professorial way, and not a threat at all. So that's how you deal with cops. You don't try to deal with them by being correct. You don't try to deal with them, you know. You just get away from them as quickly as possible. Well, I mean, the thing is, I always know that if if I'm playing it FE and they think that's going to let them get away with stuff that won't withstand scrutiny TI wise, and it does end up in court, I'll win there because that's a TI in any kind of an area if I have a case. Of course, if I don't have a case, if I actually was drunk, that's the other issue. It's like if I'm actually drunk and I get arrested for it, but they have some bullshit as to why they were justified in arresting me for it. It's I can try to argue that as an evidentiary point, fine, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be dishonest. So I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't drunk. And at the end of the day, if I get pulled over for drunk driving and I'm drunk, I don't have a whole hell of a lot to say about it. After all, they caught me. I was drunk. You know? So it's easy. It's easy to get me and punish me when it's fair and just and true. Like, I may have been really frustrated about getting my weed stolen by the cops in Oklahoma, but they did it by the book. And I knew I had no room to, there was nothing for me to say about it. They did it by the book, and they did it TE right to make it TI sound. They use breathalyzers. That's an alco tester. You blow into it, it tells you your blood alcohol level. They used to have them in bars, but they got used for the opposite purpose as intended. They thought, we'll put these in bars, that way people will know if they're too drunk to drive. Instead, you get young people in there competing to see who could blow the highest. So it didn't work well. Now they don't have them in bars anymore. I can think of one place that still has one in it. It's called the Red Lion or Red Lion Inn. Maybe it's in Silver Lake. At least last time I went in there, it still had it. There's also a place where one night I was hanging out with some people. There was another group of people approximately our age. I was young at the time, and like that group, there was these like two hot young girls, and they started like sitting on each other's lap and like kissing, and everyone's going woo around. And I was just, me and Corey were just like, okay, this is so fucking awful. This whole let's perform in this way, man. Some of them have the audacity of charging 25 cents per test. I've never heard that before, but that's funny. I mean, okay, can I buy 4 tests, please? Here's $1. 25 cents a test. They have disposable things that you blow onto. And they take it off and they undo a sanitary thing, a sterile thing, and attach it to the end. It's not somebody else's. Nobody else is blowing onto that thing. It's not like you're getting germs. But I've never been asked to blow by the cops into a breathalyzer. I've only done it at the bar. So, at the bar anyway, they've got your own sterile thing, you know. Well, this particular Red Lion Inn is like it may not quite be the name of it. It has the word lion in it, and it's in Silver Lake, but it's like a sausage and German beer house slash English pub combo thing. It's got a lot of different beers, and the food they have is mostly different kinds of sausages. It's a good place to eat, actually, but I haven't gone there since I quit drinking, because mostly I went there because they had all those different kind of beers. And I'd be like, oh, let me have one of those 12% alcohol beers, you know. Cigarette machines are great, but they barely exist anymore. When I was a kid, they used to be all over the place, and that's how teenagers would get cigarettes, you know. That's why they stopped having cigarette machines. Because that little sign that said, no person under 18 may use this, didn't seem to dissuade people from using it, amazingly. If they wanted their cigarettes, they just used it even if they weren't 18 years old, which is not okay. So now they only place them in places where they're sure no minors are going to go. Minors are always bringing their pickaxes around and breaking shit. Oh, right, I was going to play a song and then go. I am still going to do that. That just sounds like institutionalized thing to abuse. Even with your, if they fail to, yeah, it puts a burden on somebody to either respond or their silence equals assent. And when you have situations like that, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Every night I think, are these emotions I just feeling tired every single night. I wonder about the motion from here to there and back and forth. I wish I had more clarity on what should be, but even when I talk to all my friends here, you see, they just tell me I should do things differently, and that's to be expected. Things are weird, things are strange. It's hard to believe that this is the range, the scope and scale, and the extent of this thing we call consciousness. 'Cause I've been alive now half a century. I've yet to understand you and me, but I suspect with another 30, 40 years, maybe 50 more, it'll take before all the fears of seeing the world have been understood and addressed. That's my song. Let's sing a sad song. Everything's sad, everything's sad. People disappoint us. Everything's sad when they won't appoint us the role that we ought to have, informing them why they're bad. That makes us feel disappointed. Hey, Peter didn't teach you. I see you're here. I forgot that you were the one who annoyed me earlier. The title of this stream was mostly directed to you. I'm glad you seem to have complied. I'm so proud of you. Such a very sad song. Let the tears puddle at your feet. Get your socks wet, that's not wrong. You're crying for a very good reason, and it's 'cause you're sad. And you got some bad news that makes you glad you heard the truth before the bad news came and displaced it with its lies. What a sad, sad song. That song was so sad that we're all crying. When everything sucks, it's probably because you need to go to sleep. Almost for sure. Or you're hungry. Or both. Sometimes it's because shit just sucks, but very rarely. Shit usually doesn't suck that much. Shit kind of sucks right now for Rachel. Let me things kind of suck for me too. It hurts my heart to see her all strokey, you know? But, and you know, I'm having to be more realistic. This is going to take a little longer than expected, perhaps, to get better all the way. Somebody left a comment saying they had it really bad and lasted 7 weeks. So, the thing is, though, it's clearly a serotonin thing because she's not crazy and she's not taking her Prozac. So the only conclusion to draw is that she's got excess of serotonin still in her brain. But hopefully, now that most of the SSRIs have half-life their ways out, the recovery process will speed up, hopefully. Because that's the 3-week point is when the SSRIs have half-lifed out primarily. And that's why it's supposed to come to an end shortly thereafter. We'll find out if it works like that. I mean, she still can't open this door without using both hands. She can't, she drops shit all the time. At least the slurring and the, I guess, cognition and communication strokey parts of it are better, which is great. But some scary ass shit, you know? Oh, hey, Peter and Hiji, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You are responsible for my FI. When I say you're annoying me, then that means you're being annoying. Note the contrast. I don't annoy you. Because if you feel annoyance, you're annoyed at your own failure to be correct, not at me. See the difference? When Peter the teachy annoys me, it's 'cause he's being stubborn. And when I annoy Peter, it's because he's being stubborn. He's attached to what he's saying, despite the fact that it's wrong. That's annoying both him and me concurrently all the time. Yes, 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 no, 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 yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no. I hope you wrote those down, Peter and Teachy. And no, Klonopin is not a harm to serotonin syndrome. It in fact is used to treat the symptoms of the problem. It's encouraged that practitioners administer it at the hospital when people have it bad. And this is why you can't be mad at me for not listening to you, see, because half of what you say at least wrong. So instead of fact-checking a bunch of shit to discover an occasional nut that this blind squirrel has found to deliver me, it's wiser, I assume, instead see that it's totally wrong. Now do you understand? Because I deliver to you in song form? People do tend to understand better when they're taught their lesson in song form. Huh. Also, the psychiatrist prescribed it to her for to continue to take it along with the olanzapine, as they will help with the serotonin syndrome while not taking the SSRI. So, wrong, 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 wrong. And I think we made my point as well about why when you tell me something, you cannot expect later on that I should have taken it seriously even if it were right, because most of the things you say are wrong. And you seem to have forgotten the title of this live stream, Mr. DG, which is, this is the Don't Annoy Eric live stream. Not the Annoy Eric Again live stream. That's later. Wait for that one. When I put up the Annoy Eric Again live stream, That's when you start bringing in the more annoying things again. Peter and TG, I want you to put up a wall sign on your house that says, live, love, learn, listen to Eric. Okay? Oh, no, sir, Peter and TG. That would suggest that everything that people say is equally powerless, right? Of course, if you say stupid ass shit and it makes me frustrated, you can blame me for listening to you or bothering to read your words, but you can't blame me for reacting to your bullshit as though it were bullshit. Look, if I serve you a plate full of shit, of feces, right, at the restaurant, it's true you don't have to eat it. And it's also true I'm responsible for provoking your disgust reaction because I shouldn't be presenting you a plate full of poo. Right? That's how it works. And so when you go around presenting platefuls of poo, don't be surprised when people blame you for their disgust reaction. After all, you're the one bringing around platefuls of poo. Now that's quite enough. Good night, America and the world.